In today's fast-moving financial world, few stories are making waves quite like the Iraqi dinar's revaluation. For years, speculation around the tick-spell revaluation has sparked countless debates across forums, financial think tanks, and private investor calls. While some dismissed it as post-conflict hype, others remained cautiously optimistic. But now, everything has shifted. As of July 11, 2025, the Iraqi Gazette, the official publication channel for Iraq's legal mandates, has released an unprecedented and binding protocol outlining the formal IQD exchange process. This moment is not hypothetical. It's legally documented, detailed, and enforceable. For viewers of Iraqi Dinar News, this marks a critical turning point where planning must replace speculation. The 42-page directive, prepared by Iraq's central bank, delivers a meticulous roadmap for how the dinar exchange will proceed, both inside Iraq and across international jurisdictions. It's not hearsay or leaked drafts, this is verified legislation. The rollout is structured in phases, beginning with Iraqi citizens gaining initial access, followed by domestic banks and later verified international holders. For non-residents, the requirements are strict. Notarized proof of purchase, a government-issued ID, bank logs, and in some cases, a sworn financial affidavit. These regulations are in place to protect the process from fraud and ensure that only legitimate claimants can participate. Perhaps the most eye-opening part of the Gazette's release is the formal list of 34 authorized exchange locations, many operating in partnership with pre-approved U.S. banks. For transactions exceeding $250,000, 0 cents, blockchain-based verification will be used, marking Iraq's first implementation of blockchain in national finance and showcasing a serious step toward secure, digitized monetary policy. This isn't a symbolic move. It confirms that Iraq has officially activated the institutional framework to carry out the dinar revaluation. This is especially vital for American investors. For years, U.S. buyers of the Iraqi dinar have operated in a legal gray zone. Rumors swirled, but clear steps were always missing. That's no longer the case. This document creates a solid legal foundation and gives American IQD holders an exact checklist to follow. The reaction was immediate. Within hours, exchange facilitators like Safe Dinar, Treasury Vault, and IQD bankers released urgent notices to their clients, instructing them to gather receipts and validate note authenticity. Banks across the U.S., with Nevada, Florida, and Texas among the early movers, have reportedly received internal communications from the Central Bank of Iraq's liaison teams. These memos confirm their readiness to participate in a structured exchange phase following CBI procedures with exact compliance. For investors, this is the signal to get prepared fast. Financial experts are already advising a series of steps. Locate all original receipts and wire documentation, store your IQD notes securely with photos of each serial number, and be ready to schedule your redemption with an approved Tier 1 bank. If this system activates with little notice, any delay in paperwork or bookings could result in being left out entirely. Meanwhile, platforms supporting private trades have seen record-breaking surges in activity. Although the IQD still hasn't gone live on public forex platforms like Forex.com or Anda, off-market deals are booming. Select peer-to-peer channels have seen speculative rates spike, with offers reaching between $3.22 to $22.00 per dinar, though accuracy varies widely. Similar momentum is building around the Vietnamese dong and Zimbabwean dollar. Within 24 hours of the Gazette's announcement, the VND climbed 1.4% against the US dollar, a rare move for such a tightly regulated currency. In Zimbabwe, ZWL futures surged by 2.7%, while black market values jumped from $0.13 to $0.40, a 32% increase in speculative trades driven by RV rumor. These market movements are being seen as early indicators of a broader currency shift. Dr. Samir Al-Bira, a former high-level advisor to the Central Bank of Iraq, publicly confirmed that this Gazette release represents the final operational phase, not a trial or test. At a Brookings Institution panel, former IMF economist Dr. Ella Porter echoed the sentiment, stating that Iraq's synchronization with global monetary systems signals the beginning of liquidity movement that may soon impact U.S. markets and financial institutions. She cautioned investors and banks to enforce anti-money laundering protocols and regulatory oversight immediately. Legal analysts are taking this equally seriously. With the framework now part of official law, investors who are denied redemption due to administrative errors or timing may have solid grounds for legal recourse. This dramatically shifts the balance of power back to the legitimate holder. No longer dependent on rumor, investors now stand on enforceable legal ground. As the dinar edges into the spotlight, many institutional investors are also casting an eye toward the Vietnamese dong and Zimbabwean dollar. Historically held back by political instability or hyperinflation, both currencies are now gaining traction thanks to signs of fiscal discipline. In Vietnam, the economy posted a 7% GDP growth rate in Q2 2025. Despite this stellar performance, the VND remains artificially undervalued. Barclays analysts predict it could climb toward the $0.05 or 7 cents range once regional adjustments begin. Some insiders suggest accumulation of the VND is already underway by financial institutions in anticipation of a broader shift. Meanwhile, Zimbabwe's government introduced a gold-backed reserve mechanism in late 2024, restoring some market stability, with the IMF expected to formalize financial support by Q4 2025. Local ZWL bond offerings and digital reserves are gaining investor interest. These are no longer fringe trades. They're strategic options for broader exposure to revaluation-driven wealth. With the first wave of implementation underway, the timeline for execution is now taking shape with clarity. The coming 30 days are expected to see Iraq's central bank systems activated for live scanning of IQD banknotes, along with verification tools that validate authenticity in real time. Affiliate banks in the United States will begin preliminary appointment scheduling, verifying identity documents, and confirming account eligibility for exchange. At the same time, investor-facing platforms such as online simulation portals and redemption guidance hubs are scheduled to launch, giving individuals the tools to navigate the process step by step. As we move toward the 60-day milestone, market indicators suggest that the dinar may begin appearing on institutional benchmarks, not yet for active public trading, but to assess regional liquidity forecasts. Confidential, large-scale redemptions will likely be underway by this point under non-disclosure agreements. Around this phase, the International Monetary Fund is expected to formally confirm Iraq's compliance with Article 8, a designation that removes currency restrictions and affirms integration into the global financial system. By 90 days, if progress continues uninterrupted, general exchange availability could expand worldwide, featuring structured contract rates and tiered redemption appointments to manage volume and compliance. With deadlines fast approaching, the difference between success and missed opportunity lies in meticulous preparation. This isn't a theory anymore, it's codified national policy. And now that execution has begun, only those who act with precision will benefit. Financial analysts are advising dinar holders to move immediately with a 4-part action plan. First, conduct a thorough audit of your holdings. Photograph each note, record serial numbers, and store them securely. Counterfeit bills or damaged notes may not qualify for redemption. Second, collect every piece of documentation, purchase receipts, notarized statements, bank wires, and a valid government-issued ID with matching residency proof. These will be required for validation during the appointment phase. Third, decide now how you'll proceed with redemption. Whether you go through a private broker, direct bank channel, or a group contract facilitator, each option has distinct advantages and constraints. Evaluate them carefully. Finally, develop your post-RV financial strategy in advance. Will you opt for full redemption or stagger it in phases? Will you reinvest, convert, or diversify into assets? consulting with a certified public accountant and foreign exchange advisor is essential. Tax implications can significantly reduce your gains, if not planned for in advance. And that brings us to one of the most overlooked but critical areas: tax compliance. The Internal Revenue Service treats currency revaluations as taxable events. If your IQD holdings have been in possession for under 1 year, gains are taxed as ordinary income, up to 37% for high-income brackets. If held longer than 1 year, the long-term capital gains rate applies, typically between 15% to 20%. But regardless of timing, the IRS requires detailed records of all purchases, including volume, price, and date. Those with high-value exchanges, defined as more than $50,000, 0 cents for individuals, or $100,000, 0 cents for joint accounts, may also need to file Form 8938-8. If your currency moves through foreign institutions or overseas exchanges, additional FATCA disclosures will be triggered. The IRS is unforgiving when it comes to gaps in documentation. You cannot afford to approach this event unprepared. It is highly recommended that all investors seek out a qualified tax expert before initiating redemption, not after. A proactive tax strategy is not just good planning, it's a legal safeguard. In parallel, a wave of scams is targeting excited investors. Fake redemption apps, phishing emails, and impersonator websites have flooded social channels like Telegram and Discord, offering fake codes, early access, or secret redemption appointments for a fee. These are all fraudulent schemes. Neither the Central Bank of Iraq nor U.S. financial institutions solicit redemptions by phone, email, or messaging apps. Never provide personal or financial information to unverified sources. Always double-check URLs, cross-check appointment requests, and, if in doubt, call your bank using a publicly listed number. Security must be your top priority. If an offer sounds too good to be true, it almost always is. Protect yourself by sticking to official communication channels and verified platforms. The real danger here isn't missing out. It's walking into a trap that compromises your data, or worse, your entire investment. As anticipation rises, so does the risk of exploitation. Caution is no longer optional, it's mandatory. To summarize, the Iraqi Gazette's publication of the revaluation blueprint marks a watershed moment in global currency history. This is the first time a national government has issued a transparent, structured framework for exchanging a highly debated currency. The dinar is no longer a speculative instrument. It is now a tool of policy, backed by formal legislation. In its wake, other undervalued currencies like the Vietnamese dong and Zimbabwe's dollar are gaining attention from institutional investors, suggesting a broader monetary recalibration may be underway. But the benefits of this transformation will only reach those who are prepared. If you haven't verified your holdings, compiled your documents, and mapped out your redemption path, the time to do so is now. This process will not wait. Bank systems are activating, appointment slots will be limited, and as deadlines pass, access may close permanently for latecomers. For viewers of Iraqi Dinar News, the message is simple but urgent. The RV is real, it is happening, and it's moving fast. Subscribe for updates, verify your steps, and above all, stay alert, because in this new financial landscape, readiness will determine reward. The opportunity is no longer a rumor, it's a reality in motion. The only question left is, are you ready to move with it, or will you be left behind?